Hermit Bob here, coming to you from the luxurious studios of Hermit Bob's Dragonfly Garden Bistro. Well, it's like my bistro, it's fictitious studios. Anyway, I thought I'd go over something that I kind of hinted at uh, and I've talked about over the years. Said, how did I become a chef? Well, it was could be a real long story, but the bottom line to it is I'd learned how to cook in a real fancy restaurant. I was going to school, trying to become a director and writer uh, in the entertainment industry. They called it the drama department when I was going there. They call it the theater arts departments now. And I directed a couple of plays and was in a couple of shows, but I didn't want to be an actor. I wanted to be a director, and was taking a lot of stagecraft courses, everything that had to do with getting there. And then at some point, I decided I'd change majors to being a drunken cook. So that's because I got a job working in a restaurant to pay for my college education, and there was free beer back then. I don't think they do that anymore. Anyway, the downfall didn't come till years later, long after I'd become a chef. But the road to it was I got this job. I worked in one of the jobs I had. I got a real fancy continental restaurant. I mean, it was a dream. I loved cooking, and this was just a dream job. And I got myself fired out of there because I thought I knew too much after I became a number one guy on the line, meaning where the cooking stations at night when the meals are going out, the person that has to be the most on top of it. So I trained all the way up to that, and I thought I was a real hot shot. I got fired. It's a good wake-up call. I highly recommend it to anybody that thinks too much of themselves. So anyway, I went out looking for a job, and my aunt's boyfriend knew of this steakhouse chain that was a high-end steakhouse chain. It was an up-and-coming trend. It was steak and lobster houses with salad bars. It was just starting in the early or late 60s. It started in the late 60s, and I was 1971, I think, is when that was 1971. And so I went down there to apply for the job. He said they were opening a new restaurant that wasn't going to be a steakhouse. It was going to be a prime rib house. And I go, oh, prime rib. Oh, well, I cooked prime rib. The restaurant I was working at did 5 or 6 roasts a night. There's a lot of prime rib. And so went down there and applied for the job. And he interviewed me and told me that they're stepping out of their comfort zone. They're going to go to something that's kind of intricate, and they need people that know how to cook prime rib. And I go, well, I've been doing it for at least 2 years, and I've been carving it. I know how to do everything about prime rib. I know how to make au jus, and you need that. And so anyway, he said, great. He said, we haven't opened yet. We're still remodeling. We hope to open in about 2 or 3 weeks. But we're going to go up there Monday. I'd like you to come up around noon, and we're going to try out some of the equipment and cook some recipes. And I go, oh, okay, that sounds good. I can get up there. And he told me the address, and I said, well, who do I report to? The chef? And he goes, chefs? We don't hire chefs. We tried that. We have 6 restaurants now. I think we've got 6. Anyway, when we opened our first one, we were just a bunch of college guys, and we didn't know much about cooking in restaurants, and we thought we had to have a chef. So we hired several chefs, and we finally came to the conclusion that we could do it ourselves. It's just like cooking steaks in the backyard, only on a much bigger scale, and baked potatoes and a salad bar. It's really simple. He said, but this place we're opening now needs more people talented like yourself. I go, oh, okay. And he says, and let me tell you something about chefs. There's 3 kinds. I don't know if you run into them while you've been working in. Well, the place I worked in while I was there was like a revolving door. They'd hire a new chef like every couple of months. I don't know what was up with that at the time, but all those French restaurants or continental cuisines had the same basic menu. There was veal cordon bleu on every one of them, Chateaubriand, Caesar salads being at the table. So yeah, And there were several different types of chefs. And he says, one type is old guys. They're old guys that probably can't get jobs in big restaurants like they used to because they're just too old and they're tired and they're cranky. And so we ran into a couple of those and decided that we'd stick to a younger person. And then we got these ex-military guys. And says those guys were just, they were like talking to a wall. They thought they knew it all. They wouldn't listen to us. They wouldn't work with us. And then finally, we just started hiring that didn't have those problems. And we just started hiring chefs that sounded real good. They were young and energetic, and they turned out to be flaming assholes. So there's your three types. And we're not going to ever hire a chef in this chain ever again. And I go, oh, okay. And I thought kind of like maybe I'd lost the job, but I said, well, thanks for interviewing me anyway. And he goes, oh, no, I want you up there on Monday. I told you. I said, oh, okay, well, who do I report to then? And he says, we have our managers. Our managers run the kitchens. You know, the managers ran the kitchens, but they didn't know how to train cooks or make recipes or do anything. I was the only one that knew how to cook and do stuff, but that was okay. I got the job. There was another guy that was a seasoned cook like me. He was about 10 years older than me, but he was a heroin addict, and he got fired like about I think the third week. And then it was just me. And then I got that a friend of mine who I'd worked with or I went to school with, and he was working in an Italian restaurant. He wanted to get out of there bad, so he came over and he was the other cook. They didn't care as long as two guys that are used to cooking in kitchens. So anyway, we were running it for a while, and the other guy was kind of interested in construction and ended up doing construction, and we started training from the inside. But it opened up, and we did well. It became really popular, just like the trend was headed for. And they opened another one in another city of the same kind, and opened several more of the steakhouses. And all this time is about 4.5, 5 years later. They're all doing well. There's like four big owners. They all got fancy cars. One of them had a Maserati. One of them had a Rolls Royce. One of them had a Ferrari. And then I can't remember what there's one conservative guy had kind of a cheesy American car. It might have been a Continental. But anyway, they were all rolling it. They had big houses. They were just crazy. They were just doing crazy rich. And the guy that hired me built a mansion up on the hill near our restaurant. And he asked me to, they were going to have a housewarming party for all their rich friends, new rich friends. So, they kind of changed. But he wanted me to come up and cook some hors d'oeuvres. So I said, okay, I'll cook some hors d'oeuvres. And I was running the restaurant for $3.50 an hour then, because I was just the cook. So they had a good plan. The cooks in their other restaurants taught the new cooks how to cook, and basically they didn't need a chef. Anyway, I was doing everything a chef would have done. Let me put it that way. But I had lost a job. I got really surprised when I lost that job. I wasn't going to lose this one. So $3.50 an hour, I'll take it. But then anyway, I went up to do the hors d'oeuvres. Real fancy house. We had a little buffet we set up, and they had cocktail waitresses from the restaurant serving drinks and serving the hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And the owner comes back to the kitchen. He says, Bob, I want you to come out here and meet somebody. And so I said, okay. So I took off my apron. Oh, he had me dress up like a chef for this party, which is kind of ironic for never having a chef in their company. Anyway, I go out there, and there's a guy has a martini. He looks pretty posh, as they might say. And he says, Bob, I want to introduce you to our banker. And I'm looking at this guy. He says, this is the guy that lends us all the money so we can build our new restaurants. And the banker kind of smiles, and he goes, Steve, I want you to meet our chef, Bob. And I go, I'm thinking to myself, chef? Wow, this is like a field promotion. I go, well, wait a minute. I'm thinking, I'm not an old man. Well, I wasn't then. And I'm not in the military. I must be a flaming asshole. Just then the banker goes, Bob, you're the chef, huh? What's your specialty? And I go, well, I guess it would be supporting my family on the chicken shit salary old Ebenezer here pays me. The baker laughed, so I thought I did good. And old Ebenezer was not smiling, and I never got invited back to anything else again. But I got the laugh. It's always important to get the laugh. But that's the night I became a chef. My story, and I'm sticking to it.